Kyle, could you come and share that testimony? I asked Kyle to share this testimony that he shared with Michaela, and then he shared it with me. He's in the military, and it's just beautiful. The Lord came to him in a dream. You want to hear it? It's so beautiful. And then we're going to pray for anybody who would like to be delivered of fear or pressure or striving this morning. I mean, because, you know, sometimes we have, like, kind of a fear about something, but then sometimes it's like a block you just can't get past, right? In Jesus' name. We're going to get past it today. In Jesus' name.
So if I've learned anything over the last 6 months, is that I'll forget it if I don't write it down. So I wrote this down 4 times in 2 different letters, 1 journal, and to Cheyenne. That was the 4th one. Oh gosh.
Thank you, Jesus.
Honestly, I'd completely, like, I didn't forget about the dream. I always remember emotions, and I always remember, like, outcomes, but I never remember usually steps along the way. So when Cheyenne reminded me this morning about that, I was like, oh yeah, I had this fantastic dream. I was like, what was that again? And I pulled it up, and it kind of threw me for a loop, just looking back over the Instagram conversation, because I was extremely detailed with her in that. And it reminded me of so many different things that I'd forgotten about over the last few months since it happened. And it was an incredible refresher. So there's some background to this. When I originally enlisted, I had a strong feeling that the Lord was going to use me to minister to people, particularly in basic training.
Come on, Kyle.
Because basic training is terrifying for a lot of guys, and I'm 26, so I'm older than most of the kids going in, or I thought I was. We ended up having an old class, but regardless, I was prepared to show up and be the only Christian there, and I was like almost excited. I was like, this is gonna be great. Man, I can't wait. The Lord's gonna crush this. And I showed up, and for the first 5 weeks, I walked in such peace all the time. And the first 3 weeks of basic training are absolute chaos. Like, not all of it is like movie that you see of like basic training with people yelling at you, but the first 3 weeks is absolutely that, and not much else. And so for the first 5 weeks of basic training, people would be freaking out all around me, and I'd just be like, just having a great time. And I mean, we got to pray for people, and I remember this one guy sprayed his ankle. We almost got in a load of trouble because me and this other dude who was Christian decided that instead of, okay, so there's this thing in the barracks where when the drill sergeants enter the room, they yell at you to toe the line. And so everybody has to form this gigantic ring. You just stand there at parade rest, and you look straight ahead, and you pretend you don't exist. And you just try not to get yelled at. And the drill sergeants run in there, and everybody else is in this ring. And then me and this other guy named Brody are in the middle of the floor praying over this guy's ankle. And everybody's like, get out, Vincent, what are you doing? And I was like, yeah, I'll be with you in a minute. And the drill sergeants didn't know what to do with that, so they just kind of ignored it, which was a miracle in and of itself. Anyway, so 5 weeks go by, and like nothing's changed. I felt like the Lord speaking to me when we were getting smoked. We'd be down doing push-ups, and I would just be like, this is great. And everybody else is freaking out. I was like, this is fine. And then all of a sudden, it just changed. And I had been in the Word all the time, and that hadn't changed. Like, I was reading just whenever I got a chance. Sometimes we'd come back in the mornings after breakfast, and we'd have a minute to breathe, and I would be reading then. And then there'd be other times at night when we'd have like a personal hour, be in the Word then. And I was just always praying, like, Lord, just like help me to minister to these people. And then all of a sudden, it was right about 5 weeks exactly, just changed. And I felt an absence of peace. I felt like I couldn't hear. The biggest thing that was freaking me out was I didn't feel the Holy Spirit talking to me. And I knew He was talking, but I wasn't hearing Him. And that was scary. And I was just sitting here like, what am I doing wrong? I'm in the Word. Hello, formula. Like, what's going on here? And so I started praying about that, like, all the time. Lord, why am I not hearing You? And why can't I minister to these people? And over the next 5 weeks, it took us all the way, almost to the end of basic training. Still nothing changed. And finally, to put this in context, like, this is the only thing I was praying about, and I was praying about it all the time. Like, I was just couldn't figure out what had changed, what had gone wrong. And we were in a final exercise. We were all camping, if that's not really a great word. We were all being miserable in foxholes for about 6 days in a row out in the field. And on one of those nights, so my squad was down the hill from me, and they were all asleep. And I was supposed to wake them up and make sure they were all kind of standing their watches, but what ended up happening was about every 2 hours, I'd wake up for an hour, and I'd patrol for a while, and I'd go back to sleep for 2 hours. And in the last time I went to sleep, I just had a vivid dream that I was sitting with Cheyenne, I think in a coffee shop, but I can't swear to that.
Wow.
And
Carry on.
and she told me that you're never going to be able to minister to anybody until you have a relationship with the Lord yourself. And I remember, first of all, I was weeping in the dream. And that only happens, like, I'll be freaking out, I'll be running if you think someone's chasing you, whatever the dream happens to be. I never cry in dreams. I almost never cry in real life. But if I'm weeping in a dream, I remember that dream. And then I woke up at about 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm probably the only one in a square mile who's awake. I was lying there looking up at the stars, and I was just started laughing. And I was like, dear God, that's it. And
Dear God, that's it.
I was like, it was a feeling of such peace and excitement. And I remember, I mean, that was significant on a few different levels. First of all, I've been to this church probably less than 10 times, okay? And I'd absolutely never been with Cheyenne in a coffee shop.
We don't even have a coffee shop.
All right.
And it was just like, I mean, I've been going to this other church all the time, and I had like a pastor that I was, very close with, and I would meet him for lunch. But that wasn't, it was specifically Cheyenne. She was telling me specifically that. And I woke up and I was just thinking, it reminded me of something that Cheyenne had said to you all, and I'd been there probably like a year ago. And it was that, hold on.
Check your notes.
I'm gonna find my notes. All right, I remember it. It was that you can't maintain a relationship with the Lord. You are either pursuing Him and you are going forward, or you are sliding backward. There is no in between where you're just hanging out.
Receive that right now.
And I have been so focused on trying to minister to other people that I had not been pursuing the Lord for myself at all. And it was like everything. And I was in the Word all the time, and I was praying all the time. And that's not the answer. You can't just be doing that and think, oh, you're good. Like, you've got to be actually pursuing the Lord for yourself. And that was just, that was incredible. So, that was pretty much it.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Kyle. We're going to pray for you before you go, too. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Lord Jesus.